Hi everybody and welcome back. Now in this lecture we're going to create a brand new class called our e-reader class. So what does that involve? Well, it involves creating the new class like we've done previously. It involves some functions, it involves some parameters and attributes. So let's jump right in and get going. So let's start off by defining our class, and our class is called e-reader brackets colon. Now we open this up with our comments. A class to represent an e-reader. There we go. Next, we define our init method, underscore underscore init underscore underscore. Now we have our parameters: self, make, model. As we know, with e-readers are a number of different models. Does it have a backlight? So we'll put in a backlight parameter. What's the battery life like? So we'll put that in as well. And the screen type. Throw that in there as well, because now e-readers are not just black and white, they're color as well. And don't forget your colon. Next we put in our description. So initialize the attributes to describe an e-reader. Now we may not have captured all the attributes needed to describe an e-reader, but we will look at that a little later. So as we saw in the previous lecture, we start off with self dot make equals make. Self dot model equals model. Self dot backlight equals backlight. Self dot battery equals battery. And finally, self dot screen type equals screen type. There we go. Now what's next? Well, next we're going to put in a function that will format the output of our e-reader parameters. So let's have a look at how we do that. Well, def, and we're going to call this get e-reader name. There we go. Let me give that the parameter self colon, and now a comment. So return a formatted descriptive name for our e-reader. And if you think about it, this would be something like if you're on Amazon buying an e-reader, you would see a big header descriptive name at the top of the page. So this could be that. And let's call this our long name, because it is going to be a long name, equals self dot make. So let's start off with the make of our e-reader, followed by quotes space plus, let's go with our model, self dot model. After that we have some of the descriptive items in it. So let's put in the backlight, self dot backlight plus space plus self dot battery plus, putting in our spaces, don't forget, otherwise it won't come out nice and cleanly formatted, plus screen type. And just let me space that out there just for ease of use. Now we don't need a closing bracket or anything like that after that. Then we return. So what do we want to return out? So we return our long name dot title. So we capitalize where necessary. Now let's call our new class, and let's go so let's create a variable, my new e-reader. So we have a new e-reader. You've just ordered one from Amazon or wherever it is you shop. My new e-reader. So here we are calling our class. And let's give it the arguments that are passed into the parameters. So my new e-reader it's an Amazon Kindle. Okay, so that's the make. What's the model? Well, it's a Paperwhite, and if you go onto Amazon now, there are actually loads of different models, so there's not just the one like there used to be. There's a Paperwhite. What about the backlight? Well, there's an adjustable backlight. Help you read in the sun or in the dark, I suppose. The battery, well, there's no kind of set time on the battery. What it is it's several months of battery life. Okay. Then we have the screen type. So what kind of screen is it? Well, according to Amazon, it's 300 dpi. There we go. And finally, what do we want to do? Well, we want to print out our variable that we just created, my new e-reader. We want to invoke one of our methods, so get e-reader name followed by brackets. And that's it. So let's see what we have. We have an error. Why do we have an error? Let's have a look. Well, we have an error because I didn't put self in front of screen type. Self.screen type. There we go. Let's run it again and see what we get. Perfect. So let's have a look at our output for a moment. Amazon Kindle, Paperwhite, adjustable backlight, several months of battery life, 300 dpi. But I'm sure we can clean that up just a little bit. So let's have a look at how we do that. Let's go back into our long name and let's add in a couple of hyphens. When I say couple, I mean several. Another one here. And another one here. There we go. Let's run it again. Okay, a little bit easier to read. Amazon Kindle, Paperwhite, adjustable backlight, several months of battery life, 300 dpi. Now, it's not a very big stretch of the imagination to see this on the Amazon web page. So to click onto the image or the description of a Kindle and have this as your big headline at the top, and then you follow it down to read people's reviews and things like this. So let's just go back through our class here and see what we have. Okay, let's start here. At line 8, we define the init method with the self parameter first, exactly like before with our book class. We also give it several other parameters, such as make, model, backlight, battery, screen type. The init method takes in these parameters and stores them in attributes that will be associated with instances from this new class. When we make a new e-reader instance, we will need to specify a make, model, backlight, battery, and screen type for our instance. At line 16, here, we define a method called getEReaderName that puts an e-reader's make, model, backlight, battery, screen type into one string neatly formatted for our e-reader. This spares us from having to print each attribute's value individually. To work with the attribute value in this method, we use self.make, self.model, self.backlight, self.battery, self.screenType. Building on our last lectures, this is actually not that complicated if you take it step by step, piece by piece. And this lecture now is all about bringing those pieces together into one class, which we've just done. And then at line 21, we make an instance from the e-reader class and store it in the variable myNewEReader. Then we call getEReaderName to show what kind of e-reader we have. So I hope all that made sense. If not, please don't hesitate to ask me. And as always, thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next lecture.